Tonight I discussed one of the first widely publicized alien abductions. September 19, 1961, Lancaster, New Hampshire. Barney and Betty Hill would witness and experience a phenomena that will go down in history. Please join me to learn more about the Hill abductions when the nightly Paranormal program returns.
Why does the sight of a trail guide make us reassess our career choices? Why do the most spiritual experiences happen miles from any temple? Why does the deepest darkness reawaken us? Because the West is still filled with adventure, and it's time to find out if you are too. That's why.
Welcome to the nightly Paranormal program. We begin with tonight's story. Barney and Betty Hill were driving back to Portsmouth, New Hampshire after a vacation in Niagara Falls. It was around 10:30 p.m. when they saw a bright light in the sky. At first, they thought it was just a falling star, but it couldn't be. The bright light was moving upwards and growing bigger and brighter. Let's hear Betty recall the event.
Well, we crossed over the border into New Hampshire, and I think we started to see this light following. Actually, in the very beginning, I noticed a bright light in the sky, and I thought I was discovering a new planet until it started to move. And this was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So we stopped the car and got out to see what this, we thought it was a plane. So we stopped the car to get out to look at it. And that's when it changed direction and started coming in towards us.
That's right. Barney and Betty believed the light following them was a plane. Barney was an expert on planes, but was puzzled with this aircraft. He could not identify it. As Betty claims, they were not afraid, they were just curious what was following them. At an area called Indian Head, the Hills would become close to the aircraft and beings that were following them.
It left the top of the mountain, came out over the highway and stopped in midair directly in front of us, maybe about 50 feet in the sky. So Barney got out with the binoculars in an attempt to identify the craft. And when he looked up, he saw a circular window with a bright light behind it, and he saw these men standing behind the window looking down at him. And at that point, the craft began to descend, and he became frightened. Ran back to the car saying he thought they were trying to capture him. So we got in the car and we went speeding down the highway to avoid capture.
Barney would speed down the isolated road and tell Betty to look for the flying saucer. Immediately, the Hills would hear buzzing sounds that would pass through their bodies. The Hills would hear the buzzing sound a second time, only to find that they had traveled for 35 miles. Stay with us to learn what happened to Barney and Betty during that time.
Got it all wrong. Mr. Trumbull's under arrest for a felony.
Excuse me, I'm Mrs. Trumbull. Do you know where my husband
He's
is?
in the booking room right over there.
Just empty your pockets, please,
I
sir.
was with my daughter.
Are you all right?
Sir, can I have your business address, please? Yes. At 2107 Doral in Glenview.
Stand still, sir. Face front. Thank you.
All right, right this way, sir. Joe, would you call my automobile late?
Yeah.
Let me have your right thumb.
Very embarrassing. I've never been in trouble in my
Index
life.
finger, please.
You're allowed one telephone call. If you wish to call your attorney, you may.
Your Dick's
Is it
number.
home? I'll call
Right
him.
this way, sir.
Yes, please call him.
I will.
Okay, let's go.
And I'll need your belt and your shoes.
Why? There must be some kind of a mistake, officer. I'm not a criminal.
In here.
It was an accident. I didn't mean to start a fire.
If you're guilty of starting a forest fire, even accidentally, you'll pay for it.
The Hills returned home with vague memories of their experiences. They could recall being followed and seeing an aircraft, but could not recall what happened after hearing the buzzing sound. 10 days later, Betty would begin to have vivid dreams. For 5 successive days, Betty had vivid dreams that she would eventually write about. The dreams include the couple having the road blocked by men, small men forcing the couple to walk into the forest in the night, walking up a disc-shaped craft and being examined by nearly human-like men. After being examined, the men returned the couple to their car and left. It wasn't until March of 1963 when the Hills publicly spoke about their experience to their church. It was suggested that they go through hypnosis in order to clearly remember what happened. The Hills got in contact with hypnotherapist Benjamin Simon. For the first half of 1964, the couple would have sessions with Dr. Simon. The sessions were conducted separately and recorded. Barney was the first to go through hypnosis.
They took me and carried me up this ramp. Did you feel you were going to be operated on? No. Did you feel you were going to be attacked in any way? No. I was laying on the table, and my fly was open, and I thought, are they putting a cup around my private parts? And then it stopped.
Through hypnosis, Barney and Betty were able to remember being examined by the beings in the aircraft. The Hills were not harmed, as Betty described. The men, almost human-like, but smaller and with gray skin, just wanted to learn how we were similar and different from them. After the hypnosis, the Hills were at peace with what happened to them. Their story would continue to be told, leading to a book and a TV movie based on their experience. Of course, there are skeptics, including the hypnotherapist who conducted the sessions, who claimed the couple suffered from hallucinations, but it is clear from listening to the Hills that they believe they were abducted. Please join us again as we continue to explain the unexplainable on the nightly Paranormal program.